I wonder how Mexico's gonna be. I gotta check. I'm not even sure if it's gonna be cold or hot. Just pray for me, because I have a feeling like every time I travel to third world countries, I feel like I'm gonna get kidnapped and I'm not gonna come back. So, you know what I'm saying? Like that fear, that little fear kind of starts coming in, and you're like, oh snap, you know, like this might be my last trip here. But you know, I always, you know, try to be positive. So I have a feeling that if I were to get kidnapped, that, you know, it wouldn't be that bad. So I'm just joking. All right, so here we go. So is this it? Cool. All right, cool, man. So let's just do. Mhm. 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 Okay, cool. So basically, what we're gonna be going over. What we're basically going to be going over, it would be key performance indicators. So every business has this, and we also have a system of how to do this with the Shopify steward. But this is not something I've made up. This is actually, I actually learned this from Ty Lopez. And what the whole point of this, the objective is what they call keeping the pulse on the business. So you want to keep the pulse on the business, right? So since we are an agency and we are going to be welcoming more and more people, more people, we're going to get more accounts, right? So we want to make sure that we're keeping the pulse on, you know, these business owners is, you know, the people who are paying us. We want to make sure that we keep the pulse on their business. So typically how it would work is, you know, whatever store you're assigned, okay, let's say you're assigned a couple stores. The way it would work is you basically just log into the store. You would have your own login and password. And when you log into your, you know, into the Shopify store that you're, you know, you're assigned to manage, the way it would work is once you're in there, we're going to be going down the line with, you know, some of these things here. Okay. So the first performance indicator is always going to be the numbers. So it's always going to be how much money was generated versus how much money was put out. So, you know, every day we make sure we go ahead and track some of this stuff, right? So this would be a section of the income, you know, the key performance indicator. So it's really simple, like how much revenue was made, how much was spent on fulfillment, how much was spent on ad spend, the profit, the ROI, and then the amount of sales that was made that day. And you can obviously get all of that from Shopify itself, right? And this is this is actually really important because most people don't even go out their way to do something like this. And of course, this is really important to do because then you can really see how much you're actually making money, where the expenses are going, how much is fulfillment, and things of that matter. Okay, so so that would be a spreadsheet. It's really simple. You look, you know, I'm not gonna go inside of the Shopify store today because this is a short training and I can just go deeper into this. But really the way it would work is you would log in, you go to the reports, and then you just basically see what products sold that day. And then based on that, I'm sorry, you would just see you would basically see the revenue that was made yesterday, because these are basically updated every day for what happened yesterday. So at the end of the day, what you do, and you need one more here too. Another one that you would need would be, it would be Facebook. So the way it would work is basically, you know, you have Facebook on here. It would be the ads part of it, right? And you'd see how much money you made. So you'd put it in the column, and then you'd see how much money was spent, and you put it in the column. And now when it comes to fulfillment, it's a little different, okay? So when it comes to fulfillment, let me give you an example. So let's say on the store, these earrings sold, and then this bracelet sold, and then let's say this Jesus cross sold, okay? So let's say you had these 3 products that sold yesterday, okay? So the way this works is that we're looking at the cost. We want to know how much it's costing us to fulfill it, because then we can put it in here and it calculates what our profit is, right? So what is the cost of us fulfilling the product? So the way it would work is, so what I would do here, if I want to figure that out, it's really simple. I just pull out my handy dandy calculator, and then I basically type in $5.99, okay? Because that's the cost of these earrings, right? That's the cost of these earrings. So that would be the cost of that. So you would add that up, and let's say you sold this bracelet. So what's the cost of the bracelet? It's $289. So then that brings it up to $888. And then you sold the Jesus piece bracelet. How much was that? $354. So then our total fulfillment cost is $1242. So now we know how much revenue we made, right? We know, we look at the sheet. Sorry, we look at the sheet. We know how much revenue was made, how much went to fulfillment, and how much was spent. Those are always the 3 numbers. Those are the important numbers. So once we understand that and we understand what the fulfillment was, what we spent on advertising, this, and that, then obviously we can go ahead and move forward from that, right? So it's really simple. We use that tracking sheet, and then if for some reason the product is not in here, let's say the product is not in here, let's say you can't find it, right? All you simply do is if you go into the Shopify store and you look the product up by the name that it was sold in, what you can do is you can come to the product sheet here. We're probably going to create a different one, but normally let's just say this is the product sheet. We just press Command F, and what we can do is we could just type in the name right here in this little section, brings it up. So then we could just grab it, and then we can put it in here. So then we can you can put it in here. So then whenever that does sell again, it's back here, right? And it's really simple because it already tells you what the cost is. Okay, what I normally do is just make sure you, like right here would be the product page of the store that we got it from, and over here would be the vendor. So normally what I do is just, even though the price is $324, I just like to double check. So how much can we get this product for? Let's say this is the product that's sold and we couldn't find it in the store. You could add each package shipping. It's important. So it says $372, $349. So it's a little off. You see that? So that's not right. So just always look at it, and then you can go ahead and come back to this sheet. Plug it in there. Plug in the number. Plug in how much you're selling it on the store. Now, something that you do want to know is, let's say we're selling it on the store. Let's say we're selling it on the store for $12. We're also charging shipping. So shipping is part of our profit. So we put $12 plus our shipping is always going to be $4.95. So if we're selling it on the store for $12, just add $4.95. And when you add $4.95, it brings a new total of $6.95. Yeah, $16.95. So when I put in $16.95, it automatically calculates. Excuse me. It automatically calculates. That's not it. It automatically calculates the margins. So the margins on this is $13.43, and then the percentage of that is $79.23. So that means that we have 79% margins on this product, right? So now you kind of see it. You kind of plug it in there. You can play around with that, and then when it comes, now here's another part. So another part of the key performance indicators is getting back to these messages, right? So these messages, this is customer support. So the way this works is really simple. Is you just open it up, you just literally type, you just respond to the customer. And I'm not gonna go too deep into this, but obviously if there's, questions, the objective of customer service is really to just massage them, because sometimes they have these fears of shopping online, or sometimes they have questions, or sometimes, they're really impatient, and you're like, hey, well, this is how it works. It's 3 to 5 weeks, you're going to have to wait, or, hey, we sent it already and you just need, everything's going to be fine. So it's really, the objective is just to make sure you make them feel comfortable enough. So they go, okay, nobody took my money. My money, is going towards the product and I'm going to receive it. That's really what they're looking for. No matter how nasty they can get, or if they don't get nasty, or they just answer weird questions, really the bottom line is that's what they want. They want that assurance that the product is going to get to them. So that's basically what you're doing. When you click on it and you type back to them, it automatically closes out the ticket. So our job is to make sure that the tickets that we're getting into each store, that we can close them out within 24 hours. So if we could do them within 24 hours, we're money. Okay, so usually in the morning, if you can bang them out, that's great. If there's like so many that you can't get to them, just make sure you get to the ones that are about to hit the 24-hour mark. So it's really simple. And then when it comes to this, okay, when it comes to this, we also want to make sure we fulfill the products. So the following day, we want to make sure the products are being fulfilled, because we want to make sure the products get on time they get there on time. So the way this would work would be, for example, excuse me. Let's just go in here real fast. So I would give you the login, but let me kind of just walk you through how this is. We're using this app called Shopify, a Shopify app, and the way this works is we basically, let me just move it over here. The way this works is we use the Shopify app to basically fulfill orders. So it's an app that allows us to leverage and fulfill the orders, so we don't have to necessarily do it. So when we go ahead and open this up, so let's just take a look at this, right? So there's about, there's a couple orders pending. There's about, five orders pending. So the way this would work is we're inside a Shopify app. We click on orders. Okay, when we click on orders, it's really simple. This is going to load up. And when this loads up, we would go ahead and hold up. Yeah, when this loads up, we would just basically go ahead and fulfill the orders that need to be fulfilled. So if we go to these are fulfilled already. Excuse me. Okay, so it's not pulling up the orders that need to be fulfilled. Switch to the older page. Let me see. Okay, cool. So there we go. So, all right. So like these orders need to be fulfilled, right? So let's say we have to fulfill this order right here. So what we would do, so the ones that need to be fulfilled are in red. It says not ordered. And then the ones that have been placed are in green. You see that? So, and then the ones that are red have not been fulfilled. And then also something you want to look into is that it says order placed, but then it's waiting for payment to be verified. Or for example, it might say ordered placed, but awaiting payment. So it's not really placed. So you want to make sure that these orders are getting placed. So like it says awaiting payment, which means that it's not fully placed. So an order that's fully placed would look like what it looked like before. So let me just see. Hold on 1 second. This thing keeps moving everywhere. Let's just go to here. Just want to show you the example of how that would look. Okay, so you see this is an example of an order placed. So for example, it says paid, fulfilled, order placed, order complete. You see that? So that's what an order placed would look like. So sometimes when you go back in here, there's certain things that says order placed, but if you really dig into it, the order is not placed. It's still waiting a payment, or it's waiting to be verified, or something like that. So that's basically it. And so let's say we do this. So let's say we want to place this order. All we simply have to do is place order, and then click auto. We can click auto place order, and then when we click auto place order, you guys would actually obviously have the owner's accounts, so you'd guys be able to log in easily. So the way it would work is it automatically kind of fulfills it for you. It kind of just okay. So let me just sign in there real quick. Okay. Let me see here. So let's just say we did that. So now that we're there, let's try this one more time. So we click here. Let's just click step by step instead of auto. I don't do this. I haven't done this in a while. I've had other people do it for me. So, okay. So boom, boom, boom. Select it. Looks like we're good. Once that's good. Okay, cool. So got it. Okay. So this is actually an interesting thing. So they actually don't have this product anymore. So that's why we can't order it. So now in this situation, right, now that you're looking at this, so what happens right now? Okay, so this is the reason why it's important to do these. This is the reason why it's done every day. So in this situation, what happens is you go, okay, cool. We're still advertising this product, so it's either we pause the ads on it and we figure out if we can find a vendor, or we just keep selling it because we found another vendor. So this right here is it's actually a great example of what was happening. So the order that came in here, we actually can't even sell this, right? So or at least from this vendor, we can't sell it from this vendor. So we have to find a different vendor that offers something similar to this, because they're no longer selling this item. So in this situation, what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to find a vendor right away, and if we can't find the vendor, then we're gonna have to shut the ads, and then we're going to have to probably most likely refund some people if they bought it and there's no possible way for them to get it. So you see right here, if you do this every day, you start to catch the little slip ups in the business, right? So this is basically what would entail. This is what it would entail when it comes to this, right? So when it comes to this stuff right here, this stuff is super important. So, so yeah, so in this situation, you know, that's basically what the KPIs are. And now I'm gonna open it up for some questions. If you guys do have any questions, you guys can go ahead and ask me the questions, and then we're pretty much gonna wrap this up.
Hey, bro, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I was just wondering about that Cowboys thing. Is that trademark or copyright?
Um, that one there, I'm not really sure. We're just promoting products, but it should be good. But do you have any other questions beside that one?
Um, well, everything looks pretty.
Did you guys understand how the whole thing works?
Yeah, are we gonna, the Shopify app, is that connected to the stores? Like how do I get access to that?
Yeah, no. So yeah, for sure. So like it's just an extension that you download to your Chrome, and then once you download into your Chrome, what you do is you can just put in the logins in there. You can change the logins, you can put your new login information in there. And once it's in there, then you can kind of just operate it, you know. So you just put in the login of the store, and then it automatically auto populates all of the products.
Is it sort of like Overlook?
Yeah, pretty much, exactly. It's exactly kind of like Overload. They're kind of like they basically perform and do the same exact thing.
Is there any difference between like?
Well, I mean,
advantage?
there's not really. I mean, I've never used Overload or whatever it's called, but I've heard of it and I've seen it, and it kind of works the same way. But I mean, they kind of work the same. They both do. They both get the job done, which is they kind of simplify the process. So that's kind of how that works. And then, oh, you know why? Okay, cool. So they're probably not interesting. Cool. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, so it kind of works like that. Yeah, they kind of work the same way. So that's pretty much it. If you guys don't have any questions, I'm going to kind of finish this up because I have to get going. I have to start packing. But is there any other questions? Any questions pertaining to what we talked about?
Yeah, real quick, that sheet that you use to track against all the products and all that stuff, are you gonna send that to me, or do we get access to that too?
Yeah. You guys would get access to that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'll give you access to that sheet, and then we can kind of move forward. But normally, what some of the products that we do have on now, they're normally there already. They're inside of the profit tracker. Excuse me. So yeah, so that's kind of how that works. And yeah, man. So any other questions besides that, or are we pretty much good to go?
I have questions, but they're not pertaining to this. I guess I'll just call you.
Cool. Yeah, you can call me. You can message me. You can message me right now. Messaging probably would be a little bit better. And then once I'm probably free, I'll give you a call.
Okay, so I'll text you my question.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. All right, guys. All right, guys. Well, I have to get going. Thank you so much for jumping on here. So we were on here for like almost, I don't know. Jesse, if you were tracking the time?
Yeah, 23 minutes.
Okay, sweet. Yeah. All right. So 23 minutes, and Dan, I'll just message you how we pay out here. All right.
Sounds good.
All right. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Have a safe trip.
Thank you. Peace. So, did you have any other questions? I'm not sure.
She's not really bond. Partnership can be the most element fun thing that you will ever have. Your mom and I used to have fun. I know, hard to believe, right? But I